Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Victor with Get Deep Radio. Today, for our behind the scenes series, we're going to be diving into one of the most important skills for a modern DJ, and that is setting and using your hot cues. Whether you're opening for a crowd or mixing at home, hot cues will save you a lot of stress, a lot of time, will get you out of a tough situation when you make a mistake in your mixing, and will make your mix sound very professional. So let's get into it right now. We're gonna head to Rekordbox. I'm gonna start with first with what are hot cues. I would think of them as bookmarks for your tracks. They let you jump from specific points instantly, like vocal drop or a drum beat, a drum break, or the start of the chorus. And some of the reasons why you would use them is to skip the intros, skip the outros, or align the cues perfectly so you can start blending the two tracks. They also give you a lot of flexibility, creative flexibility at the time of mixing. You can use hot cues to create a mix that is seamless, where if you want to beat switch, if you want to mix, if you want to skip a part of the song, you can use these hot cues to get you there without the crowd noticing. And most of all, they give you the confidence to just be creative with your mix, use effects, get out of the line and focus on things other than just the mixing. They kind of make mixing easier for you in a way. So let's get hands-on. I will demo on Rekordbox, but you can use whatever software you want to use. It's basically the same software, same hardware idea. Hot cues, usually about 8 available at your fingertips, but you can access more through your library. All right, so let's start from the top. I've loaded track over here, which is Tobias Bergeson Ocean. So we're gonna start with this track, and we're gonna go ahead with setting the first cues that are at the intro of the song. So when I woke up in the morning, couldn't believe but they were no walls. There were no walls. I found myself by the ocean, under the sky which was full of love. Was full of love. So the first hot cue I set in about 16 bars from the start. That's halfway through the intro, so that's right about here. And this is where the instrument starts getting introduced to the song, and a bit of the instrumental, the melody, and about 32 bars into the track is when the intro ends, and that's the time by which you should have your following track be already phased out. So that's right about here. Yeah, so this beat over here is where if you're just doing mix in, mix out, this is where you want this track to be fully in and the other one to be fully out. This is, of course, if you're not using any of the looping techniques or any of the other techniques. The third hot cue that I usually like to set is the one that is at the start of the breakdown. So the breakdown is coming up right now. So in about 2 bars, we're here. All right. So I'm gonna pause it so I can catch it at the right time, but here it is. There is no more percussions, just melody and vocals. And if you want to use the technique of beat switch, which is you just switching on to the next beat at the end of this breakdown, this is where you want to start entering the new song and get the beat ready, lower the bass on this one, and in about a couple of seconds when the beat hits, so I'm gonna pause it, but right about here is where you can enter your new track's beat. So the fourth cue that I like to set is at the beat drop over here. All right, and following this, I really like to set one towards the end of the track, where I can actually just swap this number 4 with number 5 if I were to want to cut this track short. So let's just listen for it. If there's an opportunity to do that with this track specifically, we'll just follow that right now. Yeah, probably somewhere right here after this breakdown there's gonna be a beat drop. Yeah, so if I want to skip it, I would usually use this one. So that's not something that I like to practice, because I believe that we should be playing the whole track when we're using somebody else's property. It's just fair to just use the whole thing. So that's not a practice that I like to follow per se. It's just that's where I want to have it, just in case. The remaining 3 hot cues that I use are 2 for the outro and 1 for loop beat, that I can activate in case I'm running out of time to mix it in, to mix the new track in. So we're gonna listen for the outro and see where it starts. It should start any second now. We're like maybe like 10 bars behind, so let's see. 3, 2. I think that was it. Yeah. Yep, that was it. So the outro starts right here. As you can see, so I'm gonna skip F and I'm gonna use G over here. As you can see, the energy drops down by a slightly bit. That means the outro has started. And about halfway through, I also set another one. I use these the intro and the outro markers. I use them to align my ingoing and outgoing track, and just to make sure that I can transition seamlessly. So let me see if I can catch it. Maybe I will not be able to catch it, but I think it's right here. Yeah, that was it over here. Yeah, I think this is it over here, but I'll tell you a really good trick at the end of this to see if that worked. So let's not listen to the whole thing. By the time when you get down here, this is where I like to set my so this is somewhere where I would like to set my beat hot cue. So I get about 16 beats, which is 4 bars. Loop them and see if I can use this as a loop to phase out. I think this is perfect. And the way I set it, I set the loop to a hot cue itself, and you can activate it, you can make it active, and every time you get to this part, it just starts activating itself. But let's exit off the loop right now, and I'll show you the trick that I was talking about. So if you want to make sure that you're catching all 32 bars of the outro, you want to go to the end of the track and skip 4, 8, 12, 16. So this is where we are. Yeah, we got it at the right spot. 16 is where H is. And you skip another 16 bars. 4, 8, 12, 16. And this is where G is. So these are our outro hot cues. All right, so let's get into the hot cue color coding. The way I like to color code my hot cues is by setting the first one and the last one to be red. The second one and the second to last to be orange. This kind of gives me a sense of urgency. When I see the red hot cue over here on the track, I know that I need to have everything ready to mix in the new one. So these 4, I set them that way so that I can have an idea of what's going on. The breakdown intro I set to light blue, and the beat drop, the first beat drop I set to deep blue, and the second beat drop I set to purple. So that way, all of them are color coded, and now I know how to use them, and they're as such on every other song. I think this one is a bit different because I didn't. This one needs to go to the orange one, but yeah. The loop one I usually set to green, as that is my save. If I have messed up something, that is what's going to save me. So I use that one for with the green one. So I wanted to touch like base on some things that I think are very important when you're setting your cues. Is that my practice, and you can, if you go to page 2 over here, there's more. There's 8 more. I usually like to use only 8. Several reasons for that. So the classic CDJ-3000 that most clubs use will have only 8 available. So that's kind of the main one. You really wanna set yourself up for the industry standard, not for what's comfortable to you. The second is it's really unnecessary to clutter your song with additional cues. There's really 2 breakdowns, 2 beat drops, chorus, intro, outro. You don't really need that many more mix in, mix out points than those. So I refrain to those as my eighth main. You can choose your own, but this is just wanted to give you an idea of how I set them up and how I prepare for my mix. The second part is color coding. Some people like to color based on vocals, instruments, drums. Some people like to color on phases. I prefer phases because I mix in different styles, different genres. I want to be comfortable in any genre, and the one thing that is constant between all of them is the fact that all of them will have an intro, will have an outro, will have a beat drop or two, and a breakdown or two. So that's the second one. The third one is you always want to have them aligned to your phases. You never want to veer with the hot cues to just be mid phase, because that way you're making it harder for yourself to mix. So let's say you want to create a loop. You always create that loop at the start of the phase, at the end of the phase, so that you can get out of it at the right time, so it doesn't feel like two songs are just fighting each other as to which one overpowers which. So that's how I use them. You can use them as you wish. Staying on 16, 32, or 64 bars will beats will keep you in phase. Will always keep you in phase. So that's a good way to follow that by default. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the difference between hot cues and memory cues. Memory cues are used for prep, and hot cues are used for performance. I um I like to mix them. I like, as you noticed. So the intro and the outro are memory cues. I also have a loop cue. I also have a couple of beat drop cues. I mix them so that I can have comfort when I'm mixing this track. So there are other segments into preparing your mix. Of course, hot cueing is not the only thing that you need to focus on. Another thing is analyzing the grade, just making sure that these bars are set at the beat drop and at the beat start. Let's bring it back out here where there's some more more constant beats. So let's see. Yeah, right here. So as you can see, like, it's really set at the right spot. But if you move it, you can move it and set it your own, just to make sure that the grid matches the beats. Analyze the key and the BPM. I use a software called Mixin Key. It's a great software. You load your tracks into it, analyzes them, gives you the energy level, gives you everything. It's great for you to be able to sort your tracks, to fit them together, and just to make it work without any additional tasks. And the third one is, of course, organizing your playlist. That's, as you can see over here, mine are organized by genre. Some are organized by how I record them. But yes, these are the things that I use to organize my library. I'll get into downloading and mixing key and analyzing the BPM and the key in my next video. I'll link it up here. But for this one, I'm gonna focus mostly on the hotkeys. So I think we can go into, let me check just 1 second. Yeah, I think we're ready to go into some live mixing so you can see how I use these beats. So I'm gonna turn off the mic for a little bit and start playing the track over here. That's how you use them in the mix. I kind of made a bit of a mistake stopping the first one instead of the second one earlier, but you probably noticed that. But yeah, if you were to want to activate this loop, you just hit made this loop be active, so it's gonna loop into it. So that's how you use them in the mix. I prefer to, as I said, prep my tracks more. These were just happened to be one key away on the Camelot wheel, so it just turned out great. But sometimes it won't. But you saw how seamless the mix went and how easily I can manage that part of the mix. So that's why we set these cues. And when you build your library, when you have a lot of tracks, you always want to have the liberty to just play with the hot cues, because it gives you the liberty to just use effects on the fly. Just use them in the mix, and just the actual mixing part becomes just routine at a certain point. And that's when you can actually experiment with more things. I want to go over some things that you want to avoid when you're using loops, when you're using cues, and that will be overloading them. There's just no point in having 12, 13 cues if you have no idea what they're doing. Ignoring the phase alignment is another mistake that people make. Is you catch a part of the track that's really entertaining to you, you really want to focus on that one, you use it to emphasize that. You use your loops to emphasize that part of the track. While it sounds great on practice, it usually is hard to get it to turn out that way. Your mixing technique should be by default. Your ears should automatically take you to use phase alignment. Always mix in phases. And the other one is just not testing, not seeing whether all of them fall exactly on the beat drop or at the start of the bar. You always want to make sure that your hot cues are aligned as they should, as well as your grid is aligned as it should. So I think that's all I have to say about hot cues. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to receive notifications. Drop a comment if you want to deep dive into something else. Give me an idea. I can do looping, I can do advanced transitions. Let's explore this more. The more I film, the better I actually understand it myself, because this really just gives me a better breakdown at the end of the day. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys' support. Please drop a comment if you want me to focus on something else. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I'm looking forward to making the next video, because yeah, I think just sharing the info we have just is gonna help us all. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for supporting Get Dip Radio. Please follow us for our monthly mixes or our behind the scenes series. Thank you.